The bookings definitely came through. I think the first booking we had was an upsell, which was the one I spoke to. And then there were 2 direct bookings that came after that. Yeah. And I think we have to remember that this was a time where the lockdown was, was imminent.
So just quickly, when we're talking about a package, we were selling $2,500 packages in a pandemic. When we got that first booking and someone called from an ad, talked to her, she upsold into a $5,000 package. And then we sold 2 more of these. So when our biggest market was still locked up in Auckland, but the rest of the country was free, we were able to sell $10,000 of packages, which is pretty incredible. Hi, Cristina. Thanks for joining me today. And I'd love for you to share your experience working with me. So could you just start by introducing yourself and what you do?
Yes. Thanks, Damon. It's good to see you after a while. My name is Cristina 𝘱𝘢𝘕𝘐. I am the general manager of Maruia River Retreat. We opened in the pandemic. So we opened October 2019 and we had to pause in March 2020. So it's been a challenging and interesting time for us. When I came to you, I actually came to you for help in terms of really having somebody look at our business, because I was too close to it. I needed somebody to take a look at the business and help me look at it from a professional perspective. So which is why I needed help, which is why I asked for assistance in terms of really supporting the thinking process behind the marketing of Maruia River Retreat.
Which parts of my system or working with me made the greatest impact?
When I look back about the program, it was quite organized. It was very, very organized, which I really appreciated. I think a lot of people think as marketing as coming out with nice pictures and nice ads and nice copy, but there's so much strategic thinking involved. So I think the biggest thing that really helped me was going back into the thinking and the strategy behind it, which you really can't separate from business objectives. Fundamentally, at the end of the day, you want to reach your target customers. You want to be able to match your products with the audience that you have thought of in the first place. I think the most important part was really the thinking behind this. You got me back into the beginning, thinking about really who the audiences were, and not just naming who they are or demographics, but actually thinking of their mindsets. I think the first thing was really the setting up of the audiences and the proposition. Going back to who and why, that was the most important part. And then the second part, which we quickly got into because I know we wanted to get results, was actually putting the ads out there and recognizing that there is a test phase. Because a lot of people think that the minute you put the ads out, you got to get results. But there's a way of studying over a period of time. And that's when you actually get the best balance, where you get a mix of what your message is and what the market wants, and then trying to test it, and then going and calling it out when it's not working. I remember you said if it hits a certain number, a dollar amount, and it doesn't get the numbers, then we, chuck that and then go with the winners.
Move on. Yeah, back to the winners.
Yeah. It's like you break up with your boyfriend and you say, it's not good for my future. Let's move on to the next one. And basically what it was a constant tweaking, but based on a fundamental strategy. Yeah. So I think from a marketing perspective, that was very important to me, having been in the operation side of the business where I'm filled with emotions and you tend to question your judgment. So it was good to have the numbers and somebody like you to actually tell me, Cristina, it's going to be fine. The numbers look good, even if you don't feel good. So I think that was very, very important in terms of just being very clinical and very thorough and disciplined with the strategy. I think that was the biggest contribution you had to at least my general manager perspective.
Right. Well, and I think you're right, because when we met, you did understand selling experiences and your target market, and then we really dialed into that when we did those 3Ps together, and it just made it much easier when things changed, didn't it? Because lockdown hit, you thought, oh, how are these people feeling? What can we do to them? And your ads switched from less from the selling that we were able to do and more into adding value as well, doing the lives with Lust, bringing people into your world.
Yes.
I thought was a really good, we're only 1 week in, but you had that basis and that strategy of who you wanted to reach, and you're able to pivot into it.
Yeah. And what it does, it gives you the confidence knowing that in the most difficult of times, you can actually think straight. I mean, we haven't seen each other in a couple of months. So obviously there's been a lag between the time we worked and the time, but the same discipline is what I've actually kept.
If we talk results, what specific results can you share?
The bookings definitely came through. I think the first booking we had was an upsell. Really understanding the numbers was important. Having that dashboard where you presented it to me every week, taking a look at the effect of ads versus previous, campaigns. That was so important to understand how ads work. Second thing was the results in terms of metrics was definitely I got more inquiries. They made the effort to email, which obviously is an action oriented from a stimulus, which in this case were the ads, gave me a direct opportunity to call and speak to them. So I think that made a big difference because that's where we got our first booking. Somebody had called from the ad, had a question, and I was able to sell them on the phone and upsell them to a larger package. So that made that opportunity an opening, which is so important.
Yeah.
And I think we have to remember that this was a time where the lockdown was imminent. So it was also trying to go against the fear. So I'd like to think of it as successful from a point of view where the confidence in the property, the confidence in the experience, which we were new. We have a number of reviews that are 5 stars, but you're going with the least number compared to somebody who's been around for 5 years.
Yeah.
So it was a big help for me to get started from a confidence, competence, and also a credibility level for the audience. So it was great.
What has been the sort of ongoing, positive effects for your business? Because you're still running ads, you're still doing campaigns.
I think the positive difference is the transfer of technology. As you know, I think I hired a junior marketing manager. And so I know that with that transition, she joined us in the latter part of the campaigns, and that helped her understand the thinking. Because of the setup and the methodology, it doesn't matter what your background is. Doesn't matter what your influence is. What matters is the approach, the objective approach, which I thought was quite thorough. So I'm not sure if she's doing as good as you, but definitely we have seen results. But we also came at a very, very difficult time. It was the peak of COVID, as you know. It got worse for that. So since then, we've had a bigger marketing mix. You may have seen a lot of our print ads. I started putting ads out in the local dailies. So the same audience we had in Facebook marketing were the same audience I looked for in print media.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it kind of helped from the marketing mix perspective that I was more diligent and studied in my campaigns.
And now you've been a bit more targeted, getting people at different angles.
Definitely. Sorry, let me fix the lighting. Because
running out of power.
Yeah, running out of power, so I'm plugging it. Yes. Here we go.
Right. That's what editing's for. Who would you recommend my program to, and why? Would it be someone like you starting out fresh?
I actually did recommend your program. You know that.
Yes, you did.
Yes, I did.
You've already recommended it, but someone watching this, who do you think it suits?
All right. Well, I do recommend anybody who actually wants to diversify their revenue channels. If you're 100% dependent on international tourism or inbound tour operators, I actually think this is a investment in sustainability and longevity. It's easy for me to say from a new property because I came from zero international travel to having had to deal with 100% domestic. But I do feel more confident entering the international sphere, knowing that I can get my own direct bookings.
Mm.
And I think that's a good mix because, so I do recommend anybody who's a business owner who'd like to learn marketing. Because from somebody like me who's had all my professional life in marketing, it's like I was learning again. First of all, I'm in a new environment. We're in a new time of travel.
Mm.
So everything is new. And therefore, everybody's on the same level playing field. But having been a business owner and an operator and a marketing person, I actually think it's the hidden card. You know, it's what you pull out when you need help. And I appreciate the help getting somebody in. The nice thing about the consultant is that their goal is to succeed. You know, so they're not paid a salary. They're paid on success. So that motivates the business owner and the consultant to work together. And like I knew from the very beginning where I needed help, which is to have somebody look at it, you know, away from the product, you know,
Yeah.
not like me. So yeah, that's pretty much, I guess, everybody who's willing to learn again and to create a sustainable business should take up, you know, a course like this.
Great. Well, thanks for your time, Cristina.
Thank you. Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
All right.
All right. I'll stop recording now.